Արգելի հայրենակիցներ, այսօր հար և որդի Հակոբ և Հրաչյա Առաքելյանները սահմանելու են նոր Գինեսի համաշխարհային ռեկորդ։ Հակոբ Առաքելյանը ունի 2 Գինեսի ռեկորդ։ Այսօր սահմանելու է երրորդը։ 180 պաունդ 15 կքանիստ, այսինքն եթե 15 կքանիստից ավել արեց, ուրեմն ռեկորդը սահմանված է։ Հրաչյա Առաքելյանը ունի 13 Գինեսի համաշխարհային ռեկորդ, գրանցված է։ Կատարելու է 300 պաունդ 21 կքանիստ, այսինքն եթե 21-րդը եղավ, ուրեմն հաղթանակ է։ Եվ հաղթանակը նվիրվում է 106-ամյակին։
Ladies and gentlemen, today we have with us 2 Guinness World Record holders, Hracha Arakelyan and his son Hagop Arakelyan. They have several World Guinness records, and today they want to try to break 2 existing records. Hagop is going to raise 185 pounds. He's going to be lifting 15, he's gonna do 15 squats. If he does 16, that's a new Guinness World Record. And for Hracha, he's going to raise 300 pounds. He's gonna be lifting, he's gonna be squatting 20 times. If he does 21 times, that's a new world record within 3 minutes. So let's go ahead with Hagop.
Օգտվելով առիթից ասեմ, որ հայր և որդի Առաքելյանները գրանցված են նաև դյութազնագրքում, մեր հայկական դյութազնագրքում։ Սկսենք։
One second. So this is a new Guinness World Record. You did 40 squats within 1 minute. Congratulations. And by the way, he is dedicating this victory to the victims of the Armenian Genocide. Thank you. Thank you. Malakar.
Pound-ով 3 րոպեում 20-ից ավել կքանիստ, եթե եղավ 20-ից ավել, սահմանված է նոր համաշխարհային ռեկորդ։ Սկսենք։ Սկսեցինք։
That will take like Bravo!
Well, congratulations, Raja. This is a new Guinness World Record with 30 squats of 300 pounds within 3 minutes. Bravo. To go around your shoulder. Right, thank you. Merci.
Andy, making this.
Okay.
Ուրեմն հայր եւ որդի առաքելյանների կողմից նոր համաշխարհային ռեկորդը սահմանվել։ Շնորհավորում ենք։ Եվ մի փոքր խրախուսական նվեր Վեգասի համայնքի կողմից։ Շնորհակալություն։
Abel heru kana.
Management Scouts for the flag presentation. That's coordinated by Yekhpad Andrew Darakjian And we also invite Nare Asherian to sing both the Armenian and US national anthems.
Entire khum, Kayaraj, on. God's Parfi Ar
Mer hayreni azadanga Ora brele taretar Yur vortiga arkanchume Azadanga Hayastan Yur vortiga arkanchume Azadanga Hayastan Amen ein der Mahamie Mart min ein kambid merni Hai tierani vor yorazki Azadutyan gazohi Hai tierani Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Gerek, George. Hadrat.
For 106 years, the 24th of April has been marked with immense grief, agony, misery. We gather year after year to commemorate the victims and demand recognition of the Armenian Genocide. Today, the United States joins over 30 nations to formally recognize the Armenian Genocide. Though there are still many hurdles to overcome, the pain, the torment has lessened. Armenians and other minority counterparts of the Ottoman Empire were not conducive to Turkification and were subjected to systematic extermination. Within a period of 6 years, beginning in 1915, an estimated 1.5 million Armenians lost their lives at the hands of the Turkish government. The Armenian people were rounded up, beaten mercilessly, tortured, raped, and murdered. Deportation, or death marches as they came to be known, caused many Armenians to die of starvation, dehydration, and disease. By the end of the First World War, 90% of Armenians in the Ottoman Empire vanished. The word genocide with the fate of the Armenians in mind when Professor Raphael Lemkin coined the term in 1943. But the Turkish government still officially denies that the events of 1915 constituted genocide, despite countless news reports, eyewitness testimonies, and government documents from sources around the world acknowledging the Armenian genocide. They are reluctant because they do not want to be held accountable for what most scholars and historians have already agreed upon: a massacre of epic proportions and one rightfully deemed a genocide. Why do Armenians gather throughout the world year after year to commemorate the victims of the Armenian genocide? Why does it matter how we characterize and label what happened in 1915? In short, words are not merely words. They carry profound meaning and shape every aspect of society. The genocide voided 1.5 million innocent lives, and genocide denial attempts to make it appear as if these victims never existed. We must commit to the adage, 1915, never again, so as to not allow history to repeat itself. Adolf Hitler once mentioned, who today still speaks of the massacre of the Armenians? If the Armenian genocide, the first major genocide of the 20th century, had been acknowledged and discussed openly and honestly, could it have been prevented, or at the very least, minimize the destruction and devastation of the genocides that followed? We now invite the clergy for the opening prayer, comprised of the Very Reverend Father Sasun Sumruktian of St. Geragos Church, Reverend Father Artsakh Badoyan of St. Garabit Church, Pastor Sam Agulian of the Armenian Evangelical Church, and I am told we are joined by their Avitis Torosian and their Narik Mataryan.
Հարգելի ժողովուրդ, մենք այսօր պիտի անենք երկու արարողություն։ Առաջինը մեր նահատակ սուրբ նահատակների բարեխոսության գարկը, որովհետև նրանք 100-ամյակից հետո դասվեցին հայ եկեղեցու սուրբերը, եւ ամիջապես պիտի հետևի հոգեան քրիստիան գարկ մեր 44 օրյա պատերազմի զոհված մեր հերոս զինվորների հոգիների համար. We are going to do two continual services, one dedicated to the saints of the martyrs of the Armenian Genocide after the centennial commemoration. The Armenian Church in unity declared the martyrs as the saints of the Church for their faith that they died in the name of our God Jesus Christ. And immediately followed by a requiem service for the martyrs of the 44 days of the recent Artsakh invasion by Azerbaijani and Turkish and terrorist groups. So Armenia lost more than 5,000 innocent soldiers, that we will remember them today as well. Well, I guess we're going to do the opening prayer.
It's my distinguished pleasure to now introduce Mrs. Lena Hovhannisyan Esquire, Armenian National Committee of the American Nevada co-chair.
Thank you very much, Herman. Honorable Lieutenant Governor, blessed clergy, honorary consuls, community leaders, friends, and compatriots. We thank you all the numerous organizations who are present here today, our brethren and sisters in common cause as you honor our history and the 1.5 million souls who perished in the Armenian Genocide, and stand with us at this long-awaited watershed moment. Today is the dawn of a whole new day and a renewed hope. At the heels of the Armenian people's darkest hour since the genocide, the horrific 44-day war on Artsakh in 2020 by the self-proclaimed one nation, two states of Turkey and Azerbaijan, comes the unprecedented formal acknowledgement and affirmation by the first standing U.S. President, Joseph Biden, calling it for what it is, the Armenian Genocide. A true moment of truth to power. And yes, words do matter. To describe these acts any other way is to aid in denial and participate in complicity and to undermine the truth. President Joe Biden has stopped that. The U.S. President and Congress have spoken, and we are officially done with Turkey's revisionist, denialist propaganda. The mass cover-up of a colossal crime trying to relegate our martyrs to the dust of the desert in total oblivion and to bury the truth. Turkey has failed. Time does not heal all wounds. Time does not hide the truth, nor does it soften our resolve, but rather strengthens it. Standing humbly on the monumental shoulders of the activists before me, all our grandparents' legacies of survival and resilience, and the 5,000 martyred soldiers of Artsakh, we triumph, though bittersweet, in this moment for truth and justice are restored. We also stand proudly on the legacies of sons of the Armenian Genocide here in Nevada, casino titan and philanthropist Kirk Kerkorian, who made Nevada his oasis and has given back in spades, most recently in the UNLV Medical School, among many other ways that he's given back to the state of Nevada, and Jerry Tarkanian, who is synonymous with UNLV and put the state on the map, trademarked it for college basketball in all his greatness. This long overdue acknowledgement is a major step towards Turkey's reckoning with its past and its present. The leader of the free world, the greatest democracy and superpower, has taken the stand that the US will no longer barter away human rights, bend to realpolitik, and Erdogan's bullying and threats. No more. In 1915, Ambassador Morgenthau reported, the Turks handed a death warrant to an entire race. But the first genocide of the modern era has never truly ended. The 2020 episode of Azerbaijan and Turkey's military aggression on Artsakh was a one-sided military offensive against the life and death struggle of indigenous Armenians to live in our shrinking homeland, and tells us that not much has changed after more than 100 years. President Erdogan ominously declared in August of 2020, "We must finish the mission our forefathers set out to accomplish," and that mission was to exterminate Armenians from our lands for good and create a pan-Turkic empire in the footsteps of the genocide masterminds Talat Enver and Cemal Pasha. Impunity from 106 years ago emboldened these Turkic nations to continue their bloodthirsty genocidal campaign against Christian Armenians in our ancient homeland, and to make a brazen land grab with fifth-generation drones aimed at civilian centers, chemical warfare, illegal cluster bombs, hired ISIS jihadi terrorists to eradicate our people and torture our soldiers. And this is difficult for all of us to think about, but we all witnessed the inhumane live beheadings of young soldiers and the elderly before our very eyes, paraded on social media by the Azeri military. Centuries-old monasteries and cathedrals were and are being desecrated and reduced to rubble in real time. 5,000 soldiers gone, 18, 19-year-old boys, martyrs for our nation, the next generation depleted, defending against a 100 million populations of Azerbaijan and Turkey, the fourth largest military, trying to defend our homeland against yet another round. The military grave in Yerapolur in Yerevan is overflowing with the gravestones of young men gone too soon, and the small children who come to visit their fathers' graves weep inconsolably, as do we, as we witness it from far away. But our tears have turned to action. In Nevada, this 20,000 strong community mass demonstrated. We put on vigils. We raised awareness. We raised millions of dollars in humanitarian aid in this community alone. The community rose to action to aid our brothers and sisters in Artsakh and Armenia, and we should be proud of what we did. But our work has just begun. Azerbaijan continues to hold hostage 200 POWs, including civilians, despite a ceasefire agreement, and violate the human rights of these illegally detained soldiers against international law. And as the crowning act of racial hate, Aliyev has proudly built a national military trophy museum showing racist caricatures of Armenian soldiers being humiliated and tortured for Azeri children and citizens to visit for national pride and anti-Armenian indoctrination. Sometimes this becomes a cross too burdensome to bear for all of us. But I urge you, my brothers and sisters, we will turn our pain into action and empowerment, so we can truly say, never again. And now, with the full support of the US President and the Congress and the United States of America, I also want to say that today, as we can all see, we have allies and we have friends. We are grateful for the members of the community, the non-Armenian members of this community who are here today to support us, our community leaders who are here to acknowledge our pain and to give dignity to our 1.5 million and stand together in our collective plight against all human rights violations against any peoples. In President Biden's powerful words to Armenian Americans, he says, "We honor their story," that's our story. "We see that pain. We affirm the history." He continues, "As we mourn what was lost, let us turn our eyes to the future, toward the world we wish to build for our children. And let us renew our shared resolve to prevent future atrocities from occurring anywhere in the world." Unfortunately, the deadly virus of hate and denialism was not inoculated and extinguished a long time ago and continues to infect humanity like a global pandemic. Where is the prevention when genocidal nations get rewarded with impunity and reap the land, property, and treasures of their crimes? Today was a tremendous step in the right direction. As Nelson Mandela reminds us, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. And education is the cure against denialism, bigotry, ethnic, religious, and race-based hate to raise future leaders and global citizens. And on that note, I want to say that that is why I personally became involved with the Holocaust and Genocide Education Bill in Nevada public high schools. Having 2 high school students, I realized how important, and they realized actually, how important it was to be taught about human rights at an age where they were ready to handle it. And I am proud to announce today, with the outstanding leadership of our Lieutenant Governor, Kate Marshall, who came out especially today to be with us just for this event, that we're honored to have her. We also have the tremendous support of the Jewish and Israeli communities in this collaborative endeavor for human rights in education. And we are so grateful for that. At this time, I would like to introduce our very own Lieutenant Governor, Kate Marshall. And I'm just gonna call her the White Knight who has relentlessly fought for our truth. She has been a soldier for our community, humanity, and carried the torch for our 1.5 million martyrs of the genocide. It has been truly an honor to work with you, Lieutenant Governor Kate Marshall, and also your Chief of Staff, Christina Lopez. We are truly honored to have you here tonight and blessed. Thank you for joining us. If you would like to come forward.
Thank you. I am absolutely overwhelmed by the number of people that are here. This is a great honor and tribute to the memory of so many lives that were lost. I am also grateful to our president, as the first president in history of the United States, to acknowledge the Armenian Genocide. That is a great thing for us today. Today, when we acknowledge the Armenian Genocide, it is a moment for us to affirm justice. A justice that was denied many people can be affirmed today. It is a moment for us to recognize truth and to make sure that that truth sees the light of day. A truth that for decades has been denied and is still denied by some. And so this is a very, very important moment. 1.5 million people died, but you remain. And through you, their hopes, their dreams, what they wanted in life can still be achieved. Because they live on through you. And that's what makes it so important that we acknowledge this genocide and that you remain, that you are here and that you continue to be here and speak up and have a voice for the Armenian people. It is also a blessing for the United States that so many Armenian people are here in this country. It is a time when we as Americans are reminded of our better selves, are reminded of those values that we hold dear, that justice shall be affirmed, that truth shall be given the light of day, that people can pursue their hopes and dreams, all people, regardless of their faith, of their color, of their way that they live, all people. You being here and choosing to live here makes us better. And so I want to thank you for being here in the United States. It's important to us. It makes America a better place. But this moment in April 24th of 1915, when they rounded up over 250 Armenians and began what is the Armenian Genocide, this moment when we acknowledge that is also a moment of action, as Lena said. Where did she go? I don't know. Oh, it is also a moment of action. Because in teaching about the Armenian Genocide, in refusing to let the memory die, we insist, we demand that people will not be treated the same as the Armenian people were going forward. We say that the Armenian Genocide happened and it should not happen again to other people or to the Armenian people. Genocide should not happen. And so we must teach about this genocide, and we must teach tolerance, empathy, love, and we must be vigilant so that the memory is not forgotten and the injustices do not continue to happen to people around the world. That is what we do when we remember the Armenian Genocide, and that is what we will do when we will teach it with historical accuracy in our schools. I want to end, if you'll indulge me, by reading the few lines of a poem from a theologian, Padre Gotwama. When the legislative bill first came up to teach about the Armenian Genocide in our schools, and there was some opposition to that, I brought out this poem for my staff, and I said, remember this poem, because lives are important. So I'll just read you a few words. I know some of you might think, oh no, poetry, where are we going? I'll just read you a few words. When I was a child, I learned to count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But these days, I've been counting lives. And so I count 1 life, 1 life, 1 life, 1 life. Because every time a life is taken is the first time that that life is taken. We can never forget. Thank you very much for having me.
Lieutenant Governor Kate Marshall, nothing short of inspiring. And she never let go of those challenges. As relentless as I was, she was all the more. And we are eternally grateful to her for that. Thank you so much, Lieutenant Governor. At this time, I'd also like to invite Clark County Commissioner Jim Gibson, if he's present. I haven't seen him yet, but if he's present, if you could come forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'm really pleased to be here. This remembrance is significant to all of us. We're remembering a number of things. Most importantly, people who never had a chance. But along with that, our commitment never, ever to allow something like that to happen again. It's nice to say that in 2021. So unfortunate, as others have said, that it hasn't been said, it had not been said much earlier. We're so grateful, honestly, as a community, to have neighbors whom we love and respect from the Armenian community. What would we have done without them? My dad was a legislator for 30 years in Nevada, and if there was anything he loved, it was Tarkanian's UNLV basketball team. And my dad graduated from Annapolis, and when Robinson and the Naval Academy came to play against UNLV in Las Vegas, my dad and I sat in the UNLV booth upstairs, the suite, and my dad cheered for Tarkanian and the UNLV Rebels. We have loved the association, the example, the commitment to community that your community shows us. And on behalf of all of us on the Clark County Commission, know that we are committed to you, to help you as you move forward, to bring remembrance to all of us, and maybe to give some meaning to the efforts that we all take today, so that nothing like this can ever happen again, and so that our influence might be felt in the ways that it must be. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Jim Gibson, for those beautiful words. And I do want to acknowledge that Danny Tarkanian and the Tarkanian family are here today. And thank you very much for being here, Councilman Tarkanian. We are so proud of you and your family's legacy here in Las Vegas. I would also like to invite Clark County Commissioner Michael Naft. If he is here present, I would like to invite him up. I may not have seen him yet, but okay. Okay. I do want to mention that he was very instrumental in helping us get the Artsakh resolution when we were, during the 44-day war. He was extremely supportive and helpful during that time in getting the resolution for recognition. Also, on behalf of the City of Henderson, the Mayor Deborah March, and also Las Vegas Mayor Carolyn Goodman, each and both sent their respects to all of our community on this solemn occasion. And on behalf of the City Council, I would like to invite Councilwoman Victoria Seaman, who has been a supporter for years, since her days as Assemblywoman. We're always grateful to have her here. She was here with us during the candlelight vigil and the 44-day war. She stood strong with our community, and she's always a supporter. Thank you so much, Victoria. Here you go.
Thank you very much. So thank you for inviting me to join on this solemn and somber occasion. Events like this are important not only to remember and honor those lives that were taken during the Armenian Genocide that began in 1950 and the suffering of those who survived it, but honoring their memories is not enough. We must also do everything in our power to keep their memories alive. One of the best ways to do that is to educate our young people on the horrors of the past, so that they will know what happened and can be vigilant for any attempts of this kind in the future. That is why I 100% support the effort in our legislature to require the teaching of the Armenian Genocide in our schools. Because, thank you. Because one of the easiest ways for history to repeat itself is for it to be forgotten. And now I would like to present Lena and the Armenian Council with a certificate. Okay. From the City of Las Vegas, a certificate of recognition, Armenian commemoration. Councilwoman Victoria Seaman recognizes the commemoration of the 1915 Armenian Genocide and martyrs of the 44-day Artsakh War. Councilwoman Seaman stands in solidarity with the Armenian people, dated April 24th, 2021. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman. We are so grateful for your eternal support for our community in education and otherwise. Thank you very much. I would also like to invite Councilwoman Michelle Fiore, and I have to say that Councilwoman Fiore was there with us during our demonstration, and she was there for us during our candlelight vigil, and she came in full support. She was wearing Garmir Gabuit Narin Chakoin, and I can never forget that image of her in coming in her patriotic dress to support us. Michelle, we love your spirit, and thank you for being here today. If you would like to come forward.
Thank you so much, you guys, for having me here. I'm going to keep the plaque from Madam Mayor Carolyn Goodman and the rest of our city council members in the box because it is so windy. But I will just read to you what the plaque says. Madam Mayor Carolyn Goodman and the Las Vegas City Council recognize the Armenian American Culture Society of Las Vegas. Your continued community enlightenment of the attempted eradication of the Armenian peoples and the 1.5 million lives that were lost to this masquerade is solemnly cherished. On behalf of the City of Las Vegas, we extend our admiration for the perseverance of the survivors and mourn the lives that succumbed to this terrible and hateful event. One thing our Armenian community can always count on is for me to be there with you on the front lines, fighting evil in their face. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman. And yes, she has been there, right there, every step of the way with us. Thank you very much, Councilwoman Michelle Fiore. Before I blow away, I'm going to invite our next guest, and that is for Congresswoman Dina Titus, Demi Falcon, who will be coming forward and saying a few words on behalf of Congresswoman Dina Titus.
Hello, everyone. I hope everyone's staying safe and healthy during these challenging times. My name is Demi Falcon. I'm the Executive Assistant to Congresswoman Dina Titus, who represents the 1st District in the heart of the Las Vegas Valley. Though the Congresswoman wasn't able to join you in person this evening, she asked that I speak on her behalf to commemorate the solemn 106th anniversary of the Armenian Genocide. I'd like to thank Consul, Anti-Armenian, and the Armenian Cultural Society of Las Vegas for allowing me to speak on the Congresswoman's behalf. The Armenian Genocide was one of the most horrific events of the 20th century. We must never forget or remain silent about the systematic mass murder of 1.5 million Armenian men, women, and children by the Ottoman Empire. And that's why I'm wearing a Forget-Me-Not pin tonight, actually. It is far past time for the United States and the governments around the world to formally recognize the Armenian Genocide. This week, the Congresswoman signed a bipartisan letter calling on President Biden, who has a record of strong U.S.-Armenian relations, to join the House and the Senate in affirming the Armenian Genocide. And today, the Congresswoman is proud to see that President Biden became the first U.S. president to formally recognize the fact of the Armenian Genocide. Additionally, she spearheaded a letter last year urging the Librarian of Congress to correct the outdated and inaccurate Armenian massacres subject heading to Armenian Genocide, which has been done. This past year has been extremely difficult for the Armenian people. And the brutality conflict in the Nagorno-Karabakh last fall has has made this anniversary even more important, as we must, continue to commemorate this point in history to educate more individuals and avoid these terrible events from occurring again. In response to the most recent hostilities, Congresswoman Titus has co-sponsored Senate Resolution 240, calling on Azerbaijan to immediately release all Armenian POWs and civilians, and is proud to again be advocating for Foreign Operations Fund 907 and Freedom Support Act to support the Armenian people. We must honor the victims of the horrendous massacres and send a clear message that denying the truth and ignoring history is unacceptable, and we do not fully recognize, commemorate, and educate the children about genocide, the words "never again" lose their integrity. Together we can prevent future crimes against humanity and reject bigotry and hate in all of its ugly forms. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Demi. And Congresswoman Dina Titus has been a real champion for our cause in Congress every single step of the way, and we are eternally grateful to her as well. At this time also, I would like to invite Congresswoman Susie Lee's representative, Jerry Schroeder. Congresswoman Susie Lee is a personal friend, and ever since she stepped into Congress, she has been so supportive of our community, and we are also grateful to her. Jerry, if you would like to come and join us. Thank you.
Thank you, Lena. Good evening, everybody. Boy, it's a windy night tonight, but we're going to get through this, right? Yes. So the Congresswoman asked me to be here on her behalf. She wishes she could be here, but she wanted to send her support for the Armenian community. And see how this blows right out of my hand. But she wanted to send her support for the Armenian community and to tell everyone that she too condemns any kind of genocide, whether it's the Armenians or whether it's any other person, that should not happen, and the only way to stop it is to keep speaking up and keep your advocacy to stop anything like this from going on into the future. I want to thank Lena, and the Congresswoman also thanks Lena for making sure that she is well informed about what's going on. You know, we all can't know everything. Not everybody knows everything, and we need people to help with getting information, especially to the elected officials who are making decisions, who can do something about any kind of genocide to prevent it from happening again. So thank you, Lena, for making sure. You know, Lena sends every newspaper article. She sends every single bit of information that the Congresswoman needs to know, and I know she doesn't just send it to Congresswoman Susie Lee. She sends that to the entire congressional delegation, plus people in Washington, D.C. that are making these decisions. So on behalf of Congresswoman Susie Lee, I have a congressional recognition presented to the Armenian American Cultural Society of Las Vegas in recognition of the commemoration of the 1915 Armenian Genocide and martyrs of the 44-day Artsakh War. And it's signed Congresswoman Susie Lee. And thank you again for including us and making sure that the Congresswoman is aware of every single thing she needs to be aware of. You know, you can't be an effective elected official if you don't know all the information. So thank you for making sure that she has all the information that she needs.
Thank you. We are lucky to have her, and we're lucky that she listens, and you listen, Jerry, to all of our messages, because we really appreciate the advocacy. We need it, and we are very grateful for it. Thank you so much. Also at this time, I would like to invite Nevada Assemblyman Andy Matthews of District 37 to come forward if he would like to say a few words as well.
Thank you so much for being here this evening. It really is an honor, and it's my privilege to be here as a member of the Nevada State Legislature. Standing here tonight, it is truly awe-inspiring and overwhelming to see the strength and the resolve of this community. And I've been asked to speak just briefly about what's currently going on in the Nevada State Legislature. You've heard this alluded to a couple of times this evening. But yes, there's a very important bill moving forward, and I'm proud to support this bill. It would require the Nevada State Department of Education to create a subcommittee to review and make recommendations for comprehensive education in our schools regarding some of the worst genocides of history. And it includes, of course, the Holocaust, and it mentions several others explicitly. And I'm here to tell you tonight, as you, I think, know, it explicitly does include the Armenian Genocide among those that must be taught in our schools. And I think that is very, very crucial. And like I said, I'm proud to be supporting that bill, and I also want to specifically mention a couple of my colleagues who unfortunately could not be here this evening, but I know that they're leading this effort in the legislature. They're the sponsors of this bill. That's Assemblywoman Lisa Krasner from Reno and Assemblywoman Leslie Cohen from Henderson, and I want to thank them tonight for their important efforts. I just want to conclude by thanking you all again for your tireless efforts on this very, very important issue, and making sure that history does not forget those who lost their lives in this terrible atrocity. We know, of course, the ugly and dark side of human nature, and so no politician or public figure can promise you that in our lifetimes we will fully rid the world of hate and evil and of prejudice. But what I can tell you is that every moment of your efforts has an exponential impact on making our world a better and more just place. And I know I speak for all of my members of the legislature, my fellow members of the legislature, in saying that for that you have our deepest gratitude and respect and admiration. So thank you so much. God bless us all.
Thank you very much, Assemblyman Andy Matthews. We really appreciate your presence and your support today on the bill. At this time, I'd also like to invite Narek to come forward with, on behalf of Assemblywoman Annie Black, who will be presenting us a very beautiful proclamation on her behalf. Assemblywoman Black has written a beautiful proclamation regarding the Armenian Genocide, and it holds in detail about the Armenian community. The resiliency to overcome tragedy are found throughout human history, and the ability of the Armenian people to withstand the atrocity of the Armenian Genocide. She goes in significant detail, and we are eternally grateful for her support, and I'll be happy to show this to everybody. It is a beautiful proclamation on behalf of Assemblywoman Annie Black to our community. Thank you very much. At this time, I would like to invite, well, before I invite him up, I have to say that after the Armenian Genocide, one of the countries that became a welcoming safe haven for hundreds of thousands of orphans and refugees. It became the heart and cultural center for Armenian community life, and within one generation being in this welcoming place, Lebanon, the Armenian community became successful and built a vibrant center. And this is the country where I was born and my parents are from. I'm very proud to invite the Honorary Consul of Lebanon to Nevada, Mr. Philippe Ziadeh. Did I say your name right?
Yes, hi. It's with great sadness and heavy hearts that we remember this every single year, the Armenian Genocide. I gotta tell you, there is no more powerful recognition of that horrific act of violence than every single one of you. Every man, woman and a child, Armenian child. I grew up in Lebanon, and you guys, your people set the example. How everywhere they landed, they set the example of resilience and perseverance, showing how they can be productive, they can be the best part of any society, how successful in any way, in business, manufacturing, family. You guys, your example of how you turn pain and suffering into success is the most powerful recognition for your people. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorary Consul of Lebanon, Philip Ziadeh. At this time, I'd also like to invite the Armenian Genocide Research Center, excuse me. Thank you. Research Center, Dr. Sabri Atman from the Armenian Genocide Research Center, if he would like to come forward for a brief statement as well. Okay, well, we will wait, we'll move along. I have to say that this has been an amazing process, and one of the most interesting and collaborative opportunities I've had was working with the Jewish and Israeli community. And at this time, and I got to know these individuals so well, and we really got to work on this education bill together, which was so important to both of our communities. And it has been an amazing cause to work on together, because as we know, both of our communities and many other communities have suffered as well. One of those individuals is Jolie Brislin. She is the Nevada Regional Director for the Anti-Defamation League, and I'm honored to invite her to come forward to say some words for our community. Thank you very much.
Today, the ADL and the Jewish community stand in solidarity with the Armenian community as we pay tribute to the 1.5 million lives that were murdered by the Ottoman Turks. Also today, we stand shoulder to shoulder with the entire country as the Armenian Genocide has been recognized for what it is, the first modern genocide. And this is just the beginning. With only 37% of Americans knowing what the Armenian Genocide is, we have so much work to do. And I hope that the legislation that you've heard tonight is a first step in really making sure that we create this education path. At ADL, we know that with education comes empathy, understanding, and dialogue, and will end future atrocities from happening again. Because it's imperative for groups who sadly share a history of oppression to stand together, because silence is never an option.
Thank you so much for those profound words, Jolie. We really, really appreciate it. And hopefully we rise up with both of our communities and transcend the genocides and Holocaust that we have suffered. I'd also like to invite Mrs. Stephanie Tuzman, the President and CEO of Jewish Nevada. Please join us, Stephanie.
Good evening, everyone. Lena, Andy, members of the Armenian community, thank you for having me. I'm Stephanie Tuzman, President and CEO of Jewish Nevada. It's my honor to join you this evening to remember the loss of over 1.5 million souls in the Armenian Genocide. This loss in human potential cannot be measured, and our global society will forever be diminished by their absence. As we remember the victims, we pay tribute to their lives and the difference they could have made in this world. Sadly, the Armenians are yet another tragic chapter in our collective history of people suffering at the hands of hate and ignorance. But just as we have done to preserve the lessons of the Holocaust, we must commit ourselves to teach the lessons of the Armenian Genocide. Through education, we must continue striving to eradicate hatred, prejudice, bigotry, and violence within our society and throughout the world. This is how we will honor the memory of those lives lost. Jewish Nevada stands with you and with all of those in this most sacred mission.
you for those powerful and supportive words, Stephanie, and we look forward to collaborating together on this bill and hopefully in many, many future endeavors in our mutual plight for human rights. I also want to say that our community acknowledges and is grateful for the representation and presence of Heidi Sarno-Strauss, the chairwoman of the Holocaust Education Task Force. Thank you very much, Heidi, for being present today. We really appreciate you and your support. And from the Governor's Advisory Council on Holocaust Education, the president of Holocaust Survivors Group and Generations of Shoah, Mrs. Esther Finder. Thank you so much, Esther, for joining us tonight. We are honored to have you in on our day. And also from ICANN, from the Israeli Civic Action Network, the Nevada chairwoman, Sigal Chada. Sigal, you're such a good friend, and we'll work together every step of the way and hopefully making great things happen together. And also grateful to Dylan Hosier, who's the CEO of ICANN as well. I also do not want to forget our very precious Noah Jench, who is from the Israeli American Council. Thank you so much, Noah. We've had a wonderful year, and you've joined us 2 years ago, and you support us, and we support you. We are so pleased to have been part of the Jerusalem experience together, and look forward to many more occasions that we get to work together culturally and on every level. Thank you so much for being here for us. And I'm going to turn the mic over now to our MC, Herman.
And I will turn the mic over to the clergy for prayer.
Thank God.
Եվ սխալությանս դեր աչես ու կնգալ գեցո եւ օրմիա
Օրնություն եւ փառքոր եւ որդու եւ ոգին սրբո աջվե միշտ եւ ավիդյան սավիդենից
Հալելույա օրդի
Խաղություն ամենեցուն
Եվ ընթոք կույտքում երկյուածության լվարում
Սրբո ավետարանիս Իսուսի Քրիստոսի որոս թողանու
Պարքեզ դեր աստված մեր բլոսում ենք ասե աստված
Դերը մեր Իսուս Քրիստոս ասե մի խրովեսին սիրտքցեր այլ հավատացեք հաստված եւ հիս հավատացեք իդան հորիմո օտևանք բազում են Աբա թե ոչ ասացյալեր իմ ցեզ, եթե երտամ եւ արնումս Սեզարիս, զիուրն ես իցեմ, եւ դուք անտիցեք, եւ ուր երտամ կիդիցեք, եւ ժանաբար կիդիցեք, ասեցն ատոմաս, դեր ոչ կիդեմ հո երտաս, եւ զիարդ ժանաբարն գարասու կիդել, ասեցն ա Հիսուս, ես եմ ժանաբար, Եվ ճշմարտություն եւ կյանք ոչ ոք կա արիս, եթե ոչ ինև, եթե զիս գիտեիք, ապա գիտեիքս հայր իմ եւ գիտեիք եւ բադը, որովհետեւ Գիտաշի կզնա եւ տեսե կզնա, ասեցն ա Ֆիլիպոս, դեր ցույց տուր մեզս հայր եւ շատ է մեզ, Հիսուս պատասխանի այս շապ ժամանակ ընցեզ էի Եվ ոչ ճանաչեր զիս, Ֆիլիպե, որ ետես ընզիս, ետեսս հայր
Do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God, believe in me also. There are many rooms in my Father's house. If this were not true, would I have told you that I am going there? Would I have told you that I would prepare a place for you there? And if I go do that, I will come back and I will take you to be with me. Then you will also be where I am. You know the way to the place where I am going. Thomas said to him, Lord, we don't know where you are going. So how can we know the way? Jesus answered, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. If you really know me, you will know my Father also. From now on, you do know him and you have seen him. Philip said, Lord, show us the Father, that we will be enough for us. Jesus answered, do you know me, Philip? I have been among you such a long time. Anyone who has seen me has seen the Father. So how can you say, show us the Father? Don't you believe that I am in the Father Don't you believe that the Father is in me? The words I say to you, I do not speak on my own authority. The Father lives in me. He is the one who is doing his work. Believe me when I say I am in the Father. Also believe that the Father is in me. Or at least believe what the works I have been doing say about me. What am I about to tell you is true. Anyone who believes in me will do the works I have been doing. In fact, they will do even greater things. That's because I am going to the Father, and I will do anything you ask me in his name. Then the Father will receive glory from the Son.
Ծնանգուցելոց Քրիստոս ասված արանքից տևորմություն եւ մեզ մեղավորած շնորհի աստողություն անցանած
Դեր ողորմյա Քրիստոս որդի Աստուծո անոխագալ եւ բարեկուտ կտա կորաչական սիրովի օքիս հանկուցյալ զարայից եւ աղախնայից կոց այլև հիշա դերս հոգիս նորոք հանկուցյալ զինվորացն ասկիս հայոց որք անգանի պաշտպանություն հայրենիած Արցախին հիշա դեր հավուր մեծիկալստյան արքայության կո արարաժանի կավուտյան թողուտյան մեղած տասավորյալ բայձարացուն Սուրբս Կոհաչագոմյան տասուն Սիտույես դեր և արարիչ ամենեցուն, թադավոր գենտանյաց և մերելոց։ Եվ կեզ վայելեմ պարկ, իշխանություն է բադիվ, այժմ է միշտ և ավիդյանս հավիդենից ամեն։
Օրդյալ դեր մեր Իսուս Քրիստոս ամեն, բոլորս միասին ասենք հայր մեր,
բոլորերից ես, սուրբ եղիցյան քո, եկեց սարկայություն քո, եղիցին կամ քո, որպես հերգինս սրևնի, հսած մեր հանավազոր, դուր մեզ այսօր, և հով մեզ վարիսներ, որպես և մեկ տողում մերոց պատավանած, և միլանիրս մեզի փորձություն, այլ նրգազ մեզ չարեն, սիքոյ արկայություն եսոր, և կարդավյան սամին։
Ամեն օրդյալ և շնորհասուր փոքվույն երթակ իխաղություն և դեր Իսուս Քրիստոս եղիցին ձեզ և դամեսյան ամեն։
Put it down and put your
Mom, why is one of them like rainbow? Rainbow. How come it looks like a rainbow when it's
Very far away. They're all like I was like, this I would stop working with anybody else to do it.